Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome here if you are new. I'm Manganet and it's that time of the year where I bring you another 13 book thriller recommendations. Here are the 13 books we're going to be speaking about today. I'm going to talk about them in no specific order, literally in the order that I grabbed them from the stack. Last year I also did one of these videos where I recommended another 13 mystery thriller book recommendations. So if you haven't watched that video, I'll leave the link here in the cards and down there in the description. That video is on the top 3, if not actually the number 1 most viewed videos on my channel. I don't know what happened, but that video has over 5,000 views, I think. I don't know. I'll leave the link down below. Like I said, they are different 13 books. So together, between that video and this video, at the end of it, you're gonna have 26 amazing book recommendations for thriller, mystery, and for the autumn vibes that are fastly approaching. Without any further ado, let's get started. The first book that I have to tell you about is The Passengers by John Marrs. If you've been following me for a while, you know my proclaimed love for John Marrs is writing his short chapters straight to the point, full of plot twists all over the book. You're not waiting for one big plot twist at the end of the book, you are receiving plot twists every 3 chapters. It's amazing. On this one, we are following an alternative reality where there is self-driving cars. And one day there is 5 cars that get hacked, and there is 5 people inside those 5 cars, and we are following what's happening, why the cars have been hacked, how are they gonna escape. The situation is obviously being broadcasted online, on the news, etc. So we're following the perspective of all those different 5 people inside the cars, but as well the investigation that is going on behind the scenes of them trying to stop the cars and understanding what's happening. And it's so fast-paced, it's so intriguing, and this is one of my all-time favorite thrillers. Another John Marrs book, of course, I told you my love for John Marrs. This one is What Lies Between Us. And in here we are following the story of a mom and a daughter. And one of them has been kidnapped by the other one and is being held captive inside their own house. I'm not gonna tell you who kidnapped who, because that's part of the discovery. Because in the beginning, when we start reading, we are a bit confused on who's the bad guy, or maybe they are both bad, who knows. This is as well typical John Marrs, very short chapters, straight to the point, full of plot twists all over, and it's so good. It's very fucked up. This is one of the most fucked up thrillers I've ever read. Like, the things these characters think about and the things they've done to each other brings me chills just remembering. Again, one of my all-time favorite thrillers. There's not much I can tell you because the whole experience of this book is not knowing absolutely anything, just going in blind and being surprised all the time. Next up, we have Rules for Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. I believe this one has a different name in America, and it's like 8 Perfect Murders or something. I'll put the American cover here. I have no idea why titles sometimes get done differently between the UK and America, but I know that some books sometimes that happens. This is a very short thriller, by the way, so if you're just stepping into the thriller world, this might be a good way of starting because it's so short. You're not going to invest as much time reading this as you would with another book. Okay, so we have this guy that works in a bookshop and he has a blog. And many years ago, he published a list of the best 8 murders in fiction, so famous authors, and at some point there's a list here. It's like Agatha Christie and like classic authors. So we have A.A. Milne, Anthony Berkeley Cox, Agatha Christie, James M. Cain, Patricia Highsmith, John D. MacDonald, and like it actually tells you the name of the book that he's followed to do that list. So it's 8 books that, in his perspective as an avid reader, had the perfect murder in it. And now fast forward to the present day, there is a serial killer that after 2 or 3 murders, the police discovers is following his list. So they obviously go contact him and get to learn more about these books and the murderers, and he gets to tell them about what happened on the book, so it helps with the investigations and finding the killer. And basically that's the premises of the whole book. If you are someone who enjoys reading classical thrillers like Agatha Christie and all these that I mentioned, then you will probably enjoy this even more than the average reader, because you're reading something that ends up being based on those books that you enjoy. I was putting the books here, but then I realized that I was actually in front of it, so now they're here. I thought I didn't have any more of him in the list, but here we have another one. So this is The Good Samaritan. On this one, again, very fucked up, not as much as What Lies Between Us, but still very top-notch up there. On this one, we're following a lady that works in one of those help to suicide hotlines, those that you can call for free and get help if you are thinking on ending your own life. She works there. She actually helps the people commit suicide, and she connects the people like to other people so they don't do it alone if they don't want to, and she actually incentivizes them to go ahead, and if they start having questions she's all like, no, just go for it, and explains why their lives are miserable and why they should in fact do it. It's very fucked up because of that. It's very psychological, very short chapters as well, and again a very good read. Killing Kate by Alex Lake. On this one, we are following again a serial killer that is killing a bunch of ladies, and they all have very similar faces. And one day, Kate realizes that they are all very similar to her. So then she starts going over the people in her life and trying to connect the pieces and trying to discover who it is. And if I remember correctly, she actually has a suspicion on who the person is, and she starts trying to get away from him. But then the things don't really go according to plan. It's something like that. I've read this a while ago, so I don't remember too many details, but I quite enjoyed this one when I read it as well. The Shadow Friend by Alex North. Now this one, I didn't enjoy it that much, but I still put it here on the list because I think the premises is something that is going to interest lots of thriller readers. So this follows that typical classic thriller perspective of something happened to a group of kids in the past, and now it's like 30 years later, and one of them returns to the little town where they used to live and where that said thing happens. In here we also have the lucid dreams parameter, if that's something that interests you. So when people are dreaming, but they do realize that are dreaming and they are able to control the dreams, and with those dreams they're able to visit the past and find out what happened inside their own mind, and the memories slowly start getting back to them. That premises was what broke the book a little bit for me, because that's not something that I'm interested. I don't really enjoy that. I find it a bit silly, but I do know that a lot of people enjoy that and they like things based on dreams and recovering memories and whatever, so that's why I put this book here on the list. A Stranger in the House by Sherry Lapina. Again, another psychological thriller with an unreliable narrator, because the woman that we're following, she wakes up one day in the hospital, she has amnesia, and we never know throughout the book if she actually has amnesia or if she's faking it. The basic premises of the book is that one day her husband gets home, she's gone, she left all the doors unlocked, and like she was halfway through cooking dinner and she left her wallet and phone on the kitchen table and everything, so she clearly disappeared in a rush. And later on in that evening, the police goes to their house and informs the husband that she was speeding in her car through a very bad part of the city where they live, which is definitely not somewhere where she would go, and that she had a very bad car accident and she's now in the hospital, and that's when we discover she has amnesia. So the whole book is us trying to find out what is happening and if she actually has amnesia, if not, if we can trust her, if we cannot. It's a very good book, but on this one I feel like it's one of those that if you haven't read too many thrillers yet, you will definitely appreciate it more, versus if you read it when this is like your 100th thriller that you're reading. My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. We are following a married couple that has 2 teenager kids, and this married couple, they are killing women together. So they have this agreement where the husband kind of picks the women and then gives them to her wife and she kills them. But we don't know exactly what she's doing or why this whole thing started. We do have some throwbacks to the past on how they met, how their relationship started, and some private jokes that they share with each other. The middle of the book, I found it was a bit plain, average, not much was happening, but then holy cow, like 100 pages from the end, there was like a good 3 or 4 plot twists. Me being the basic person that I am, I didn't see any of them coming. I was very surprised, I was very shocked, and it just kept getting better and better and better, and oh my god, it was so good. So give it a try. If you find that the middle is very average, just stick to it. I promise the ending will be worth it. The Flight Attendant by Chris Boujalian. In this book, we are obviously following a flight attendant that used to do transatlantic flights, and she used to sleep with men all over the world. Whenever she flew somewhere, she would just find the passenger on that flight or meet someone at a bar and sleep with them in the hotel, and then the next day wake up and operate the flight back. One day she wakes up, I think it was in New York? Dubai, it was in Dubai. She wakes up in a stranger's bed, as always. She's very used to it because she always drinks a lot to do those things as well. So she wakes up, she doesn't remember where she is or how things led there, but the man laying next to her in bed is dead Obviously, she doesn't remember anything, so she quickly grabs her things and runs away. And then obviously the police investigation starts happening. When they find the body, it was a person of interest, the one that died. So she starts getting very nervous. She needs to keep working, and then we're following her, keep flying around the world and being scared and afraid that the police is actually gonna find her and that maybe she killed him. So she's also trying to recover her memories and trying to remember, did she do it, did she not? It's very intriguing, and you can feel her stress as you're reading this. You can feel the things tying up together on her. The Troop by Nick Cutter. Now, some people don't actually consider this a thriller, some people consider it more a horror novel. I think it's a thriller because it was not that scary to be a horror, but it's very disgusting. So if you enjoy things like Saw movies and guts being spilled out and like very vivid descriptions of someone's diarrhea or vomit or like eyes coming out of the eyeballs, or I don't know. If you enjoy really disgusting things, then you're gonna love this, because this whole book is just gore after gore after gore. We're following a group of 5 or 6 teenagers that go to a camping trip in Canada with one of their teachers, and it's in this remote island. For some reason they're doing that. It's like scouts, and while they are there they encounter this man that seems to be so hungry that he's just eating dirt and eating like wood from the trees, and then he starts eating himself because he was just so hungry. And while they are trying to help the man, they actually realize they have some kind of virus that spreads to them, and then they slowly start getting like that as well. And that's why the whole thing is very disgusting, because they all start just being so famished and so hungry that they just like try eating each other as well. Disgusting. If you like that sort of thing, there you go. Through the Wall by Caroline Corcoran. On this one, we're following 2 women that are neighbors in an apartment building, and they share the wall in between their flats. So through the wall, they get to hear the lives of each other, and we are following chapters alternating between the 2 of them, and we can see that they both interpret the life that they hear through the wall in a very different way from what it is in reality. And they are both jealous of each other, and they both try kind of stealing each other's life, not directly, but trying to live up to the other one's standards. But because they are interpreting what they hear through the wall so wrongly, everything goes wrong in this book. It's a more slow-paced thriller, so again, I think if you are just starting into the thriller world, this would be a very good recommendation for you. He Said, She Said by Erin Kelly. On this one, we're following a lady that is accusing a man of raping her. And we are following, obviously, the 2 sides of the story, as the title probably suggests. So we are following, obviously, the man saying he didn't do it, and the girl saying he did it. And there's this other lady who's kind of saw it happening. They were at a music festival of some sorts, and the other lady is a witness, but she didn't really see what happened, so she's just interpreting what she thinks it was, and in her head everything was so clear. So she's helping the victim go on court and all that against the men. But then as the book goes on, we discover that she didn't really see what's happening, and we also start doubting, can we trust her, or does she have some sort of interest on this? Then all the characters here are very creepy and dark and twisty, and everyone has really weird ways of thinking and doing things, and they're very dark and twisty inside their own heads, and it doesn't have that reality vibe. You don't read this and think, oh my god, that could definitely happen in real life, just because on how fucked up everyone is, and everyone has second intentions. And I mean, I don't know what part of the world you live in, but where I live in and the way I see the world, I don't think people are that dark, but maybe I'm just being naive. What I thought of this book is that even though the story is very captivating, I thought this book could be a good 150 or 200 pages even shorter. I thought that it dragged a lot, there was nothing happening in the middle, and it could have been one of those very short and very intense thrillers, but still the story is very interesting. And the last book on this list is The Assistant by S.K. Tremaine. This is a very technology-heavy book. If that's the sort of thing you like, then you'll love this. This is based on a smart house. Again, if that's the sort of thing you like, you will love this. Or if that's something you have in your own house, like I do. I have smart speakers, smart lamps, smart doorbell, smart everything. So when I was reading about this house, I felt like I could really picture what was happening, because I do know how it's like to live with those kind of devices in your house. So if that's your case, you will probably really enjoy this. On this one, we are following this girl that moves into her friend's house. her friend is away with her fiance or something, so she moves into her house. So the main character of the story is not the one that lives with the technology, as in she's living with the technology, but she's not the owner of it, she's not used to it. She knows how to use it, but only on a very basic level. So when things start happening, she starts freaking out, she doesn't know how to deal with it, and basically the devices are trying to kill her for some reason. She doesn't know why, but they're doing everything, like turning off the heating and letting her freeze inside, locking all the houses, blasting music, making the lights flash to scare her in the middle of the night. So the devices are up onto something, and throughout the book we are following her, trying to discover what is happening, and is it actually the devices? Does that make any sense? Or is it someone that is doing those things through the devices? Perhaps it could be her friend or her friend's fiance, that they're not there, but obviously they have access to the technology. So that's what we are following. It's very intrigued. I actually love this book. I wasn't expecting this to be anything special, and correction, I don't think it is, but because I do live in a house that is very similar to the one that was being described here, I had that special connection with the book, and that's why I was saying, if that's your case as well, you might actually feel that kind of connection with the book, and you might also enjoy it like I did. So there you go, guys. These are the 13 book thriller mysteries recommendations that I have for you this year. Like I said, there is another video here on the channel with another 13 book recommendations, thrillers as well. So if you want to go check it out, the link will be in the description of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read any of these books, or if you got really curious to read any of them now that I've spoke about them, or if you have any recommendations based on these books and you'll be like, Manganet, if you really enjoyed that, you're also gonna enjoy this one. So if you also have recommendations for me, leave them in the comments. I love reading your comments, and when you suggested things on the other video, I always went on Goodreads to read their descriptions, and some of them actually seemed very intriguing, and I actually added them to my wish list. So yes, I love book recommendations. If you have any for me, leave them in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye!